Hello there everyone, Commonwealth Realm here, and we have a lot of other games coming to the system as well. There have been countless speculation, rumors, including from our end, but also from Rogersbase, who is back for this part of the video. That is the new 3D Mario game. It's the 40th anniversary of Mario come this September.
Do you think there's a potential for this to be a Donkey Kong, like, tag team game?
I have trouble picturing what a 3D Mario game, a new one, looks like beyond, you know, just having Mario in it. Like, I don't know, it could be maybe an evolution of Bowser's Fury at the very least. I don't think it's going to be Odyssey 2. I think they're going to do something completely new. A tag team Donkey Kong game would be very interesting.
I've never seen Donkey Kong prior to the Mario movie actually utilizing the power-ups from Mario outside of, you know, in a cart in Mario Kart. And the redesign that we're seeing in Mario Kart, and that redesign being more similar to his like original Miyamoto-esque like classic Donkey Kong look, some type of Mario Donkey Kong game, and like their tag team sort of being the gimmick of the title in the way that like the capture mechanic was the deal of Odyssey. I completely agree with you. I do not think this is going to be a direct sequel. I don't think it's an Odyssey 2. I think they are doing something completely new and different for this one, with the only thing maybe being taken from Bowser's Fury is potentially like how the open world worked. And it'd be funny if, you know, it was like Mario collecting golden bananas or something. Are we all in agreement this is their holiday game? This is not a launch game?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't think it's a launch
Mario Kart is the launch game, for sure. It's going to be a reveal trailer, so it's not like we're going to get a deep dive. It's going to be like with Odyssey in the Nintendo Switch presentation, where we get the title drop, but we don't get release date. We don't get... That will probably be saved for June. Maybe not even the main gimmick, because obviously they saved that also for the E3 2017 Spotlight. Let's get into Zelda. We have heard about the Gamescom 2023, Breath of the Wild, 4K, upscaled, running in 60 frames per second. It's the best-selling Zelda game.
Only hope is that people who already own Breath of the Wild can get this upgrade for like maybe a slight upgrade fee at the very least. Truthfully, I feel like this kind of stuff should be free, but we know Nintendo's not going to be generous that. So yeah, they're just going to, I hope like maybe like $20 max upgrade fee, especially if this includes extra content.
I think that would kind of be a little bit of a game changer without like fully making it where the game is free or at a discount price, because at the same time you're buying the next system, right? Like it's their way of getting people to be early adopters.
So like it would not surprise me if they give us another teaser for the next mainline Zelda, because that's their big moneymaker, and it's going to be, I think it would be more than a logo, but it would be something that's not in the final game, like a cutscene that's in engine, but it's gonna be heavily changed in the final game.
I do think like a jaw-dropping kind of one more thing that they could tease and do, and like realistically when you look at the time frame of like announcing these things 3 years before they're coming out, right? The big anniversary for Ocarina of Time is 2028. If they end this with like, oh, by the way, we're making a remake of Ocarina of Time, like people would lose their, because now it's been longer between Ocarina of Time and Ocarina of Time 3D than it would be from today to Ocarina of Time 3D. So I do, and that game is like obviously so beloved. You've got the Zelda movie coming out.
This will be both a similar but also very different direct, where there will be more focus on showing differences and also the power of the system, giving you immediate reasons why to purchase the system at launch. We'll see. We'll see what they do with Zelda, but Mario Kart. I'm not gonna get 100% hyped for this game until I see other IPs than Mario IPs. If we're losing that going into this game, that's going to be a hard pill to swallow.
I really no longer believe that it is like a big crossover title. I do think the crossover characters that have already been introduced are absolutely coming back. And I do think we'll probably get like one or two more. I mean, I feel super duper confident that there's Olimar or like the Pikmin or some form of like some Pikmin cart or Pikmin course. I feel like Pikmin has really evolved in the course of the past like 3-4 years. It's blown up in terms of popularity. They consider it like one of their big pillars now. I could see like more potential like Zelda, Animal Crossing, and Splatoon characters being added, but beyond the really core characters, right? Like the ones that are wholly owned by Nintendo, I don't think we're getting too many more guests. I think the focus is going to be on whatever this big gameplay change is going to be. And the more I've thought about it, the more I've come to terms with like, I think being okay with that and like being happy with that, right? Because we've got 24 racers per track. I think they are looking to significantly change up the gameplay in some way. Day.
Yeah. So it doesn't
we'll
collide with GTA
day,
6, because it's kind of Nintendo's GTA 6, right?
A little bit. I mean, yeah, it's like their big thing that's guaranteed to be a moneymaker. So, just real quick, because I don't think we really need to talk about it that much, because it is still, at the end of the day, a Switch game. But we have Joey here. I have to talk about Metroid Prime 4, right? It's obviously, I feel like Prime 4 is potentially going to be one of those games that they're going to showcase the difference of running on a Switch versus Switch 2. Like, I don't know if I believe anymore that there's going to be two separate SKUs released of it, but I do think it is still coming to Switch, and I do think we are going to see it in this presentation, and I think it's going to be, the way of like, you could play this game that's coming out that, everyone's looking forward to on Switch, but look how much better it runs on Switch 2.
I'm just like, wow, it's finally coming out, but why did they have to like make me wait for a new console to play it? It's just so, even though I know it's a Switch 1 game, but at the same time, yeah, I agree with you. This would be like a demonstration of how much better a game looks on Switch 2. I will say though, I don't think it's going to look that much better, because like this game was built for Switch 1, therefore it's going to look like a Switch 1 game at like 4K, but it's a Metroid Prime game,
I was
so it's
going
going
to
to
say,
look like...
I mean, Metroid Prime Remastered is like one of the prettiest games that's on the original Switch, and Prime 4, based on the trailer I saw, that looked amazing. So I'm like, I'm fine with that. If it looks like how it did in that trailer that we saw a couple months ago, like, great. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, exactly. So, but at the same time, this is, people always say like this could be the Switch 2's Breath of the Wild, and I'm like, nothing's ever going to be the Switch 2's Breath of the Wild except Breath of the Wild. Like Zelda's just going to be Metroid and Zelda. I love Metroid, but Zelda is just like infinitely more popular, and I don't think Prime 4 like it could. I think it could potentially be the best-selling Metroid Prime game, especially if it is a launch title for Switch 2, but I don't think it's going to hit Zelda numbers, especially because it's the fourth game in a franchise, and it's like, by that point, it's just like, it's more iterative than it is like a revolution like Breath of the Wild was.
Could we see a new Splatoon revealed in this? We know it's a big franchise and seller.
I'll put money on that. We are 100% we're going to see a Splatoon in this. We saw Splatoon 2. Yeah, we're going to see Splatoon 4 or whatever the new Splatoon thing is for sure 100% lock it in going to be at this presentation.
And they announced Splatoon 3 like a year and a half before it came out.
That is very well, because there is a mystery game from a very famous developer, Sakurai. Roger, just take it straight away. I know you have a lot to say on this.
Look, all right. I'm cool with whatever he makes. He wants to make Kirby Air Ride 2, fantastic. He wants to make Kid Icarus Uprising 2, fantastic. Of course, though, my bread and butter, my favorite franchise of all time is Super Smash Bros. And it has been a very long time now since the last Smash Bros. Game. And for a long time, I believed like, I bet this game is going to be Ultimate Deluxe, right? We're going to get all the characters from that original game, all the DLC, all that stuff put into the game, maybe with like a new mode like Smash Run or something, and like a couple new characters, and then like they'll continue on with it the same way they did with the booster course passes with Mario Kart 8, only instead being like challenger passes throughout the lifespan of Switch 2, right? As the days go on, and as I think about it, no longer believe it is going to be Ultimate Deluxe. I think because of the fact that it is Smash Brothers, because of how huge that franchise is, and because of the very open talk about this being fully backwards compatible, Smash Ultimate Day 1 will be playable on Switch 2. You're going to be able to play that game. So it's not a situation similar to Mario Kart where, not a lot of people bought a Wii U. And so for the majority of people who bought that game, it was a completely brand new Mario Kart experience playing that on Switch. So I don't think they can get away with an Ultimate Deluxe type situation for Smash anymore. Saying his, the write-up for his next game took very, a limited amount of time, so he was able to do his YouTube channel. I saw him, reposting this stuff about this Direct, which obviously means, when Sakurai reposts something, that means he's showing up in it. So as we get closer to it, I don't want to hype myself up too much. I actually think if it's not Zelda, as we proposed earlier, I almost feel like they could close with Smash Brothers, which would be crazy. However, I don't want to hype myself up. That's a new Smash. And I want to, not necessarily want to believe, but do believe that it is a return to Kid Icarus. I think we've heard rumblings about Kid Icarus Uprising potentially getting some type of remake. We know that Bandai Namco has 2 studios now. There's Studio S that's making Smash Brothers. There's the other studio that's making some type of first-party action game for Nintendo. Obviously, Bandai Namco has a lot of experience working with Sakurai. I do feel like some type of Kid Icarus thing, especially because of the mouse controls and because of all the talk about how the controls worked on the original DS version, and wanting some type of new control playstyle to make that game functional. I feel like it's Kid Icarus. I do, and I'd rather it be Smash, as much as I love Kid Icarus, but I would be lying to you if I wasn't going to be bouncing off the walls at seeing a Kid Icarus running on Switch too. So I'm fine with whatever he's going to make. I'm very much of the mindset with Sakurai of just let him cook. Whatever he's going to make, he could make like Mario Basketball Simulator, Football Manager or whatever, and I would still play it, so.
Since we are talking about Sakurai, what is HAL up to? What is going on with Kirby? It's been silent on that end for quite a while. And we know that Kirby games like to be pretty close to the launch of new systems. Do you think Kirby could show up? It didn't show up in the Nintendo Switch presentation in 2017, but
I would love to see Kirby show up at this thing, right? I feel like all the recent Kirby games have been good. And yeah, they are clearly cooking up something, because we have normally Kirby games, we get like clockwork, even if it's a spin-off we get every year. And we know Monolith Soft has been working on a new IP for like 5-6 years at this point now. They've been working on it for a long time, this new system with a first-party IP, especially now that Monolith Soft is, once again, wholly owned by Nintendo. That just recently happened. What better way to showcase the first wholly owned Nintendo project that they've worked on than whatever their next Xeno game is? Whether it's like a new Xenoblade, whether it's a new IP, whatever it is, I think we're going to see it during this, especially because we saw Xenoblade 2 during the Switch presentation.
Let's stay in Japan but move over to proper third parties now. We know that Skyrim was a big deal in the reveal of the Nintendo Switch. We saw it in the whole first look trailer, then it made a big splash in... Well, not a big splash, at least Todd Howard showed up in the Nintendo Switch presentation, and we had the presence as well in the E3 spotlight that year. What will be the Japanese equivalent of Skyrim for the Nintendo Switch 2? Because, yeah, that's one thing.
Yep. Lock it in.
But what about Monster Hunter? We know that it is a game that is a Game of the Year candidate.
No. I feel very strongly I don't think Monster Hunter is going to be in this. As somebody who's already put 30 hours into Wilds, that game chugs on a Steam Deck. And I think it would be a great way to showcase, like, hey, look how powerful the Switch 2 is if it could run Wilds and run it like realistically well. But I do not think Monster Hunter is going to be in this at all. A big one is Street Fighter, right? Street Fighter 4 had a history on 3DS. Street Fighter has not been on one of the other consoles as of yet. It is still a Sony and PC game. I think that making its way over to Nintendo Switch 2 would be a huge deal.
Yeah, but going back to Elden Ring, I feel like that's got to be the big one, because Elden Ring, huge success. Also, it's not like those games can't run on a Switch 2. The game it runs on a base Xbox One.
Yeah, I think Night Rain actually, yes, I think that'll make its way over there as well. Yeah, I definitely think that game will make its way over. I feel very strongly that Final Fantasy VII Remake, specifically Remake, is going to show up at this presentation. Whether it is a launch game, whether it is coming out, within a couple months, that is a full-on lock, no doubt about it. Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to show up here.
There's going to be a sizzle reel of sorts, and I've written down what's going to be in that sizzle reel. Doom the Dark Ages would be a great game for, like, the mouse controls. I also wrote down Monster Hunter Wilds, but I know, like, there's some debate about that now. Indiana Jones, the big showstopper. Actually, no, maybe not the big showstopper. That'll be the one after this. Halo, like, that's been rumored. That's been rumored for a while.
Here's another big one. Flight Simulator.
Flight Simulator, that would be insane.
Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, yes.
That seems like a huge, especially because Red Dead Redemption 1 came out on Switch.
So what do you think will be the gimmick title, Roger?
Going to have something to do with the mouse controls. A reboot of something like Mario Paint or like a new Kid Icarus. One of the early games for the Super Nintendo that Nintendo had, which was SimCity. If you remember, there was a Nintendo-published version of SimCity, because that seems like the perfect opportunity to showcase the mouse controls. similar to how they had Bowser attacking the cities in the original Super Nintendo one.
Roger, you're bringing up a very interesting thing. What if they decided, instead of making it just a regular SimCity, put in elements from their franchises, Nintendo franchises? Like building Castle
City Builder,
Town,
that's Nintendo
Mushroom
related.
Kingdom
Yeah.
based on the Mario movie, for
Sure.
example.
Sure.
Yeah, I hope that's a real thing, because that'd be like, oh man, Roger was right again.
That's why I'm excited for it, though. We're guaranteed a good showcase no matter what. I feel like that's the exciting thing about these big directs at the beginning of the life cycles of the systems is there's really no risk of disappointment.
Thank Joey, as always, for joining. Great honor to have you here, Roger. And where can we find you?
And you can find me everywhere: YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, wherever. Blue Sky as Rogersbase.
If you haven't already, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and press the notification bell. And thank you so much for watching this video until the very end. The same goes to all of our great patreon.com/CommonRound patrons, and in particular, Raw producer JC Funk and heroes Cheryl, Garrett Hoy, Holly Wolf, and Kintaro. You all rock, and please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.